So let me ask you something. What predictors of stock returns will perform better? Ones conducted by academics or a simple naive data mining approach? And the answer is surprising. They actually perform very, very similarly. Um, yeah, you would think that the naive data mining approach would severely underperform the peer reviewed research. But both the peer reviewed research and data mining approaches only retain roughly 50% of their in sample predictability out of sample. And why is this happening? Well, one reason could be alpha decay. This is a commonly cited reason for diminished returns. As people allocate to a strategy, then it arbitrages away any mispricing, which caused the excess returns to begin with. It's important to note, however, that the long short returns are still positive. There's still some predictability here. Why is that? Shouldn't they drop to zero over time? Well, this research doesn't account for frictions like bid ask spread or taxes. So it's possible that the realized returns, you might not be able to capture this excess return due to frictions related to trading, limits to arbitrage. But here's another thing. Here's another confusing thing. Risk based, so the paper separates it. So we have risk based predictors, we have mispricing predictors, and then we have agnostic, right? In theory, risk based predictors shouldn't suffer from any decay. Maybe there's some time variation in risk premiums, but it shouldn't ever decay to zero. And there shouldn't be major out of sample decay. But here we see it anyway for risk based. So what is going on? Another theory is that it could just be an overfitting issue. These strategies might be overfit to in-sample data rather than reflecting a genuine real-world relationship between an asset's risk and return, which is a really, really surprising finding. People really underestimate how easy it is to accidentally overfit. I don't think these academics were intentionally overfitting the in-sample data. I just think this paper highlights that we need more robust approaches for identifying sources of risk premiums. And here, Chen was lucky. We're lucky enough for Chen to have posted his data set onto his GitHub. And here I just took a sample of momentum strategies. And you could see there's a pattern. So the blue is the in sample, the orange is the out of sample. You could see there is a very obvious pattern. So some of them still do pretty well. But there's an obvious decay in out of sample returns. And I've done this for all 212 of his strategies. And I've looked at a few, like this one, that still have impressive out of sample predictability. And guess what the issue is? Like a big issue because first of all, that's selection bias. So you got to be careful with selection bias. But I was curious. I looked at the strategy's performance. And a lot of these strategies are very difficult to trade. And that might be why. That might be exactly why their out of sample performance is still so high. Because people are incapable of arbitraging away this inefficiency. They're just incapable of doing so due to limits to arbitrage